Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube. And did you realize that the Super Bowl 2016 was the third most watched program in recorded history? Now, that really says a lot. It's well known that advertisers will pay millions and millions of dollars for a 30-second spot. Now this to me has always been very clear evidence of mind control, the power of mind control. The advertisers are willing to pay this much money for a 30-second spot because they know they're going to get all these views. They also realize how powerful advertising really is. In its own way, it's a form of mind control. I don't consider us conspiracy theorists, I consider us critical thinkers. So a lot of people in the world are seeing that everything's bathed in deception, it seems. Government, politics, schools, religions, everything. So people are searching. But I've been in this community of critical thinkers for about 8.5 years now. And in all that time I've seen a lot of trends. I've seen a lot of people come and go. And I've seen a lot of channels grow. What I've really seen is a huge awakening. I remember many years ago when I started uncovering Illuminati symbols or trying to understand the language of symbols in our world, also questioning our reality in all different forms. It didn't seem like there was that many of us around. But now the community has exploded. A lot of people are asking questions and a lot of people are sharing their truth. I'm telling you this because you're going to see a lot of different videos on the Super Bowl, and this is what I'll be covering in this video as well. And I encourage that. People have different vision, people have different gifts, people see different things. So I always encourage people to share their truth. I made this video as I was watching the Super Bowl and the commercials, so these are my impressions of things, just the first thing I kind of picked up on. Some of the things I left out, there were a lot of symbols and things happening in the Super Bowl that I felt was very obvious. And then I'm sure there's plenty of things that I missed. Once again, the importance of the community. The strangest thing that occurred to me while I was watching the Super Bowl, and keeping in mind how many millions of people were going to be viewing this, was the massive amount of, once again, occult symbolism taking place there, or Illuminati symbolism, if you will. New World Order agenda. Many of the different things we've covered here on the channel and other people have covered as well. Once again, on display, on the Super Bowl, all throughout it, for millions of people to see. And the strangest thing is that most of those people have no idea what they were really seeing just below the surface. So with all that being said, let's explore. I really wanted to start with the basics on this one. So Pepsi is the corporation that sponsored the 2016 Super Bowl. Now there's a very interesting and easy way to see how this beast system is manifesting and how it's growing, how it's literally taking over everything in our world. But one way to see this really easily is to look at corporate logos. Now over the last few years, a lot of these logos have changed because a lot of these corporations have sold out to other entities. This right here is Pepsi's old logo. This is what it used to look like. And then several years back it changed ownership and the new owners created a new symbol, which is this one. So we look at the old symbol, right? You see that? Now we look at the new symbol and what's the change? The change is very subtle, but I've always seen this as an eye, another eye symbol. You see the way the blue is slanted now and then the white. Now as far as I'm concerned, this forms the all-seeing eye. And I've shown you this in all kinds of things in the past. This all-seeing eye, these pyramids, all this stuff keeps showing up. Now in case you think that's a reach, I want to show you this right here. This is the old Taco Bell logo. I've shown you guys this in some other videos as well. And then once they changed ownership, well, this became the new logo. As you can see, they put the evil eye in there, or the reptilian eye, if you will, surrounded by a 6. And even more telling is that on all the Taco Bell buildings, there's 3 of those logos all around the side, right? So you have the 666 with the all-seeing eye. Here's an example right here. Obviously, they have the one on the main sign right there, but all around the building, there's always 3. So you got the 3 eyes, the 3 6s on the Taco Bell. And in case you still think that's a reach, this right here is an example of one of their newest buildings. So not only do they have the 666 with the all-seeing eye all around the building, they've also put the arch in right there above the Taco Bell. And that slight arch, of course, is this right here. So again, we have the Eye of Horus. Now we're going back to the Egyptian mystery teachings. All this stuff is connected with the Illuminati, which essentially are very, very high-end Freemasons. This beast system is certainly controlled by multiple secret societies, different bricks in the same pyramid, if you will. But I thought this is a real spot-on example. Once again, you can go from one to the other, and we have the confirmations of all the other signs which we need. So now we see what Taco Bell really is. We see what entity controls this corporation. Now, if you go a lot of years back with the Super Bowl, I mean many years back, you're not going to find any of this stuff. There was never any of the satanic imagery and pageantry or Illuminati symbols and all this stuff. We didn't see so much of this occult things in our entertainment many, many years ago. But specifically over the last 5 years or so, it's really growing. In practically any big event anymore that happens, award shows, sporting events, the Olympics, things like that, you're really seeing this stuff out there now. They're really pushing it, right? Here's a good example. This one was from a few years ago. The Super Bowl MVP was wearing an Illuminati eye during a press conference. And as I said, we've seen a lot of this over the last few years. Madonna was a part of one of the Super Bowl shows a while back. All the imagery, all the occult symbolism, it's all right there. But again, most people, the general public, they have no idea about this kind of stuff. So they don't really see it the way we do. But coming back to Super Bowl 2016, there's some very basic symbolism here as well, I noticed right off. But the Broncos logo itself is the white horse. The white horse, the first horse of the apocalypse, right? The horse that brings death. And we've seen this horse pop up in all kinds of places as well. You may remember this one right here. This is, I think it was one of Obama's inauguration speeches. But of course, right there at the very top, they made sure to have the white horse. And once again, this is of the occult. This is symbolic of the white horse coming. That was right there in the middle of everything, and most people probably didn't even notice it. But again, this is symbolic. The white horse approaches. The four horses of the apocalypse approach. Now we're also talking about Denver. These are the Denver Broncos. Now, as far as this so-called conspiracy community goes, most of us know about the Denver International Airport. This is one of the most obvious examples of the beast system, again, right before our very eyes. It's filled with occult symbolism all around. They even have Lucifer. It's this blue horse with the red, fiery eyes out there in front of the Denver International Airport. Again, something a lot of people have broken down. I have broken this down as well. And we have to ask ourselves, why is it they put this stuff out there in public, right? It makes no sense normally. But when we understand the people behind the scenes and the way they think and the way they put things out there, it begins to make a lot more sense. But you really don't have to reach too far. When it comes to the Denver International Airport. They tell you right here, right in front of your face, what it is. This is the New World Airport, right? You got the Freemason logo there. So once again, clear example of the beast system manifested before our very eyes. And again, it always goes back to the eye, doesn't it? It's the eye of the beast system, or the Illuminati, people call it the Illuminati eye, but I call it the eye of the beast system, always watching. And over the last few years, it's manifesting even more and more. This is from a nuclear summit not long ago. So all the world leaders were there, Obama was there. I've shown you guys this before. In the middle, you have a hologram pyramid on top of a sun disk. This stuff gets deep. And all around the inner circle are Egyptian hieroglyphs. So again, you can see the people who are behind the scenes, right, or the people who are running things, who are really running things, all of them have this knowledge. All of them understand this. They understand this beast system. They're the ones pushing it out there. Even many of the members were literally wearing little pyramid lapels on their jackets. I mean, I was amazed when I first saw this, and this is from just about a year ago or so. But as I said, it's really coming out there. It's manifesting more and more, and they're just showing us. So Super Bowl 2016, as I said, there were a lot of symbols going on. There's all kinds of things, commercials and movie trailers and all that. And as I said, I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be making videos on this, and you'll see a lot of different perspectives. I just want to kind of cut to the chase with this and show you some very real ways that you can see how dark this really is. How dark this agenda has become in mainstream media. Once again, the third most watched program in history. One of the easiest ways to really see the satanic or even Illuminati, if you will, in all of this, right, all around the Super Bowl. One of the easiest ways is just look at the celebrities that they're promoting. Now, here's the deal. Remember, it's millions of dollars for like a 30-second spot for the Super Bowl, because all these advertisers, all these corporations, they all know that lots of people are watching this, right? So this is a very clear example of massive mind control, massive programming for the public. Let me show you what I mean. Now this right here is a singer named Janelle Monáe, and she had this really big Super Bowl commercial. But once again, when you just go back and look for the signs and symbols, remember they have to reveal this stuff without telling you. We find Janelle Monáe, once again, just pushing forth all the same imagery, all the same ideas we see a lot of these other so-called Illuminati tools or pawns have to put out there. And this right here was interesting. She was doing a bit on Metropolis. I've covered Metropolis as well. The Illuminati, or these secret societies, they're all about Metropolis, because Metropolis, as far as I'm concerned, is the very first so-called Illuminati movie, where they literally put their plans right out there in front of the people's face. And Metropolis is a really old movie, but it's all about mixing science with Satanism. But once again, this is something you'll find a lot of these so-called Illuminati artists portraying or putting out there, is this idea of Metropolis, because all the ideas of Metropolis are very much about the beast system. And moving on, there was another commercial. It seemed really random. This is Willem Dafoe. He's an actor, and it's one of those commercials. I think it was a Snickers commercial where he's freaking out in a dress on stage. They give him a Snicker, and it turns out that's Marilyn Monroe. But this is what she looks like, I guess, when she hasn't had her Snickers and when she's in a bad mood. So sure, it's kind of funny. People laugh, and people don't really think about it. But when I first saw him, I thought that was weird. It's like, of all people, they have Willem Dafoe. But then I remembered that just a few years ago, Willem Dafoe was also in a Super Bowl commercial. You may remember this commercial from a few years ago. That's Willem Dafoe right there. Those are his hands. But he was literally playing the devil in this commercial. There was a kid that was actually signing his soul over, signing a contract, right, to the devil. But I thought what was most interesting is right there on his hand. It was really hard to see, but I got a good screenshot. He's clearly wearing his Freemason ring. Okay, so again, here's a character playing the devil, creating contracts for people to sell their souls, and here he is literally wearing a Freemason ring. So again, for all those people saying, oh, there's no connection to Masonry and Satanism and all that. Yeah, and this is just one example. So now it makes a little more sense to me that they're still using him in commercials, right? I guess he's a part of the Brotherhood. Then there was this commercial here with Lil Wayne. You may have seen this one right here, is Lil Wayne and George Washington. But Lil Wayne in this commercial, they got Lil Wayne and all these people watching. I'm sure he made a lot of money making this commercial. But when you go back and it doesn't take much of a search, but just do a little search on Lil Wayne, and here he is once again. He's putting out all the symbols he's supposed to, right? He's a part of the Brotherhood too. And personally, I think this album cover right here speaks for itself. It's pure blasphemy right there, right? That's sick, nasty stuff. It's also showing the destruction of New York. But here he is on a Super Bowl commercial, making millions and millions of dollars and being promoted as a mainstream artist. And of course, they would never show you this image for Lil Wayne during the Super Bowl. But these are the people that are making the money. These are the people that are getting promoted. These are the people that are literally programming a lot of your children and a lot of you. Bruno Mars, I don't have to show you a lot on Bruno Mars, but he was a part of the halftime show as well. He's done halftime shows in the past. Maybe it was last year. But even during his show, he had the pyramids and different little signs and symbols and whatnot. Beyonce was a part of the show as well, but there's really no need to show you a lot of things on her. Most of us get it by now that if anybody's a so-called Illuminati tool, Beyonce's right there at the top of the list. And then, of course, they were with Chris Martin. It was Bruno Mars, Beyonce, and Chris Martin. So, of course, Chris Martin, he's had to do it too. Once again, he's showing his affiliation. He's showing you the eye. But beyond that, I'd seen all the commercials. And like I said, there's several of them that I could have maybe picked apart a little more or whatever. But I felt like it's pretty obvious in some of these things. So I just want to kind of cover just a few. But this is one of the most interesting right here. And it's for a new television set. It's LG. That's Liam Neeson, the actor. But as you can see right there, he has the Ouroboros on his hand, or the snake eating its tail. And at one point, he throws that card or whatever, and it creates another one, kind of like a glowing snake eating its own tail. But what was most interesting is the whole idea is he's from the future, and he's talking about the future. And the point of the matter is, you should check out the commercial, listen to the speech. It's all about New World Order, all about something coming. It's coming. And we have to be prepared and all this stuff. And, of course, the television itself, though, that's the part I thought was most interesting. Here's the side view of the TV. It's super thin, but when you look at the front, and even during the commercial, they show a lot of them too. And And even during the commercial, they show this as well. But it's a black mirror, right? So they're putting the black mirror in your home. And it's interesting because I just covered this subject not long ago in another video called What Are They Really Trying to Tell Us? And in that video, I showed you where the black mirror shows up in all kinds of movies and TV shows and all kinds of things, always connected with the occult, Satanism, a portal, bringing something out, right? This is what it's all about. It's called scrying, and they use black mirrors for this. And this is a very real thing. It's been around for a very long time. It's the black mirror. The black mirror is a very powerful. The black mirror is a very powerful portal. We also see this in reflecting pools, another subject I've covered in the past. But now they're putting the black mirror right in your home. And lastly, this is just a quick one, but they showed the trailer for Independence Day Part 2. It was crazy, man. I mean, all kinds of stuff blowing up and exploding, you know, the whole thing. It's about the alien invasion. And we talked about that on the channel as well, the fake alien invasion, or maybe they really will look like aliens, but they'll actually be the fallen ones. All kinds of theories and speculation on this, but this is certainly a part of programming we're seeing in all kinds of things lately with this alien arrival. But what I thought was most interesting in this is it showed just like skies on fire and buildings getting ripped apart and all kinds of stuff. And the character right there, Jeff Goldblum, he's one of the guys in the movie. At one point he says, "What goes up must come down," while all this fire in the sky is in there and the buildings are being destroyed. And again, that's that idea of the as above, so below. And it's another very common occult theme we find in all kinds of things. And as soon as I saw the commercial, it's just the way my mind works. It reminded me of something else I'd just seen. This is from the TV show Colony, and Colony is another one that's all about New World Order predictive programming. Check it out if you're interested. Got all the New World Order ideas in there, lots of predictive programming, but it's all throughout there. But this was just a short scene in the last episode I watched, the third or fourth episode. And this is inside some kid's room. The dad's about to come in, but you see the poster back there is the important part here. You see that poster there in the back, right? I'm going to give you a close-up of that in just a second. But the whole scene plays out, and it's really all about that poster. The kid has found a way to listen to the resistance. There's a resistance in this show Colony, okay? And they do like a radio broadcast. And the father kind of finds out about it, and he's asking, how do you know when these people are going to broadcast? And the kid explains that there's secret codes they put up on posters, and they'll put the posters all through town, and if you look on the back, that's where you'll find the code. But this right here is the poster, and of course this is for the movie As Above, So Below, right? So now you start seeing these connections, and I know that's very subtle, but even then you have to ask yourself, out of all the movie posters they could have chosen for that particular scene, why did they choose one for, again, something we're seeing over and over again now, as above, so below. And that's about it, guys. Now, these were my impressions as I was watching it. As I was watching the Super Bowl and watching the halftime show and the commercials, I was just kind of making little notes here and there. As I said, there's a lot of other stuff that I probably could have covered. I felt a lot of it was a little more obvious, but you're going to find that all over the place. There's going to be all kinds of people making these videos with different perspectives, and that's cool. You know, kind of get a taste of everything, really. But most importantly, I hope you see this for what it is. I hope you understand why it's important to see these things, so you can understand the times we're in. You can understand the truth of God. You can understand the truth of devil. These things are real. This is happening, and all this stuff is unfolding right before our very eyes. Hey, thanks for watching.